Krishna, everyone. So, today we are going to delve deep into this phenomena that we all undergo in our day to day life, that is comparing. So, whenever we come across someone or something that we don't possess, or whenever we meet someone who is doing far better than us in any dimensions of life, be it in career, be it in finances, be it in any other dimension of life. So we have this simple strategy that we all adapt, that is to compare. Now let us investigate, why do we compare our behavior with others, and whether this is beneficial or not, because we know that each and every coin has two sides. So if there is some benefit, then there must be some disadvantage also. We will explore that. Along with that, we will also try to understand what will be the right balance, or what should be the right means, or method that we should follow in a situation when we come across somebody who is doing far better than us, or when we encounter something which we adore, we really love to possess, but unfortunately, or don't know whether it may be fortunately, that we don't possess it right now. We will explore all of this. We will cover multiple dimensions, and we will be using different examples and different techniques to tackle these situations, or to navigate through these situations in a more efficient, calm, and balanced manner. So, first let us find out, why do we compare? Now, when we are comparing ourselves with someone else, it's clear that we do possess a passion to improve. We have the passion to improve our circumstance. Now, this reflects a positive behavior. So, is comparing is always bad? No, it is not. Now, there is some other dimensions as well. So, comparing our situation with someone else is a reaction or a response. This is something we have to understand. Whether we compare our situation with others as a matter of reaction, or we are comparing it in order to analyze how we can improve ourselves, what are our shortcomings, and how can we make progress. Now, if our in our case we are comparing ourselves with somebody else for the sheer sake of comparing, and ultimately we feel demotivated and we feel low, then definitely we are not doing it the right way. But if we are taking inspiration from the other person and improvising his or her techniques in our life, then definitely it's a positive thing. So, why do we do comparison? It may not be a it may not be the normal behavior. It may be the perverted behavior. So, in some individuals, it is found that they usually do not compare them with their classmate, with their colleagues, but due to peer pressure or due to the pressure from their family, they start comparing. Example, a kid who is studying at class 5, that person, that small boy or girl, may not compare his or her result with the classmates. But once the kid reaches home and the parent comes and tells that kid that, see, you have scored only 50%, but your friend has scored 90%. Now, this triggers in the mind of the kid that, okay, so I need to compare. My performance is evaluated on on the benchmark set by others. So now this sets in a competitive attitude, within the kid. So in and eventually when the kid grows, this behavior evolves, and it sometimes reaches a very lethal stage where the kid or the person, a grown up adult, that person may feel bogged down under huge pressure of comparison, and the person may feel completely useless. So we have to be very careful that what is the reason that I am undertaking this exercise of comparing my situation with someone else. So, that being clear, now let us move to the next part. So, let us understand what are the benefits and what are the issues associated with comparison. So, benefits and issues. So, we will cover both the dimensions. Now, there are definitely a lot of benefits involved in comparison. The first being that you get to improve yourself. Unless we learn from others, unless we compare our behavior with others' behavior, we will not improve. So, when we are reading biographies, when we are reading or hearing from an expert person, we are essentially learning from that person. I know that I am going to temple only once a week, but I come across an individual, a devotee who is going to temple every day. So this is inspiring me to increase the frequency of my temple visits. Somebody is reading Bhagavad Gita for 15 minutes a day, but I manage to read only 5 minutes a day. That again inspires me that I need to improve. So this improvement can happen only when we keep our eyes and ears open and hear from other people how they are making progress. So definitely it leads to an a cycle of incessant improvement. Another benefit when we compare is that it keeps up the zeal or passion within us. So when we look at different people, so this gives a sense of community. For example, if an individual is studying for an exam, and if he or she is completely isolated, and that person is studying alone, where that person has no idea about how others who are preparing for the same exam are thinking or behaving, there are very high chances that the individual may feel confused, perplexed, and may even leave the preparation in the middle way because of lack of guidance. But when the same individual is put inside a community of aspirants who are preparing for the same exam, then that person feels that, well, here I go and I have a community who keeps me always motivated. So then the individual will keep performing well and preparing well for the exam. So comparing our life with others always again is not a very good strategy, because when we compare our life with others, we are making a lot of assumptions. So, as Albert Einstein often said, that you cannot compare the behavior of a fish with a terrestrial animal, right? So, with monkey, right? You cannot compare the behavior of fish and monkey. So, a fish is an expert swimmer, and a monkey is an expert in climbing trees and jumping from one tree to another. So, we cannot compare. So, when we are looking at social media and when we are checking status and all that, we have to be very vigilant. We have to understand that when it comes to social media, people are only putting out the best version of themselves, not the original version. But what you are seeing in the mirror, when you look at yourself, you are seeing the original version. And it is to be taken for granted that the best version will always look much better than the original version. Let's take an example. See, for example, health. So in social media, we'll always see that many people are coming out and helping strangers, right? Now you never know whether they are acting or is it a real incident. Because if it's a real incident, then God knows how many people are carrying camera every time, so that they are capturing all the moments of their life. That's very unusual, right? So we don't know whether actually they are helping those people or it's just for the sake of publicity and some page like. So we have to understand that whatever comes in social media is not true. It is filled with a lot of uh, publicity stunt. So don't take everything as is, rather take it with a grain of salt. Now, next point is that the legitimacy of the comparison. That means, are we on the same plane, or do we have the same background? That is also a cause of concern. That means somebody might have studied from a big school and then went to a very premier institute, and now he or she is doing something in her life or his life. And then the maybe we have gone to a very we went to a very average school and not so premier college, and then we are not doing that amazing in our life, we are just leading an average life, and then we start comparing. So in this way we are actually doing injustice to ourselves, because no matter how much it's important to keep up improving, but we also need to understand that we cannot make a jump from point A to point Z in a single day. It will happen, and that will happen in different steps. So we have to go by the step. So instead of looking at, so if you are standing here and there is a person who is standing here at point 10 and you are at point 1, and there are different steps over here. So this is step number 5, this is step number 9. Now you should not look at a person who is standing at step number 10 and get inspired, because then there are high chances that you will find that the task is very complicated and it is way beyond your reach, and then you will give up. Rather, scientists say that it's better to compare yourself with a person who is immediately next to you, who is a little bit better than you. So compare yourself with a person who is standing at step number 5, because that person has done something better than you. So you have a fair scope of improving yourself. At the same time, you don't feel demotivated. Now, the next point, suggestions. So now we discussed about why do we compare ourselves with others, what are the benefits, what are the problems. Now let us understand how to tackle a situation when we come across a person who is doing much better than us, or when we come across an object or a thing. It may be car, it may be anything, property, it may be anything, right? So how do we handle such situations, how do we manage such situations? So the first thing, the principle to be followed here is to understand that there is a beautiful verse that goes in Ishopanishad which says, Isavasham idam sarvam. So everything that is there in this universe, it belongs to Krishna. So ultimately, the supreme proprietor of everything in this universe is Krishna. So ultimately, all the objects belong to Krishna, and everybody in this material world, they are all servants of Krishna. They are all parts and parcels of Krishna. They are all serving Krishna in some or other way. Even those who do not believe in Krishna are actually still serving Krishna in indirect, ignorant manner. Now, once we understand that everything belongs to Krishna, and then we understand that my relationship with Krishna is very much very much deep, and we are always connected. I am also part and parcel of Krishna, and that this person whom I am looking at is also part and parcel of Krishna. Immediately, the factor of jealousy or enviousness is ruled out. There is no envy, because you are not looking at the other person with a sense of enmity. Rather, you are looking at the other person as a agent of Krishna, as a part and parcel of Krishna. So it's very important to understand this. Second principle to understand is that there is something called law of karma, which means everything that goes around comes around. So a person may have performed some very pious activities in the past, as a result of which he is undergoing some great facilities and comfort in his present condition of life. Now, if we also undertake pious activities in our day to day life, if we undertake proper actions, definitely we will end up getting positive results in the short term or in the long term. So we should be action oriented and not result oriented, right? We should not worry about the result, rather we should worry about the action. That's what Krishna says. So we have no right authority over the result. We have authority only over the action. That is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That means we need to focus all our attention on the action that we are performing and depend on Krishna about for our result. We don't know how the result is going to turn out, but we definitely know that whatever happens with us, it is going to be the best, because Krishna is our supreme friend. And once you realize this, that Krishna is your supreme friend, he is your most dear friend who knows everything about you, you will be peaceful. You will be peaceful. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text number 29. So, you will become immediately peaceful. Now, once you are peaceful, once you understand that Krishna is my friend, everything in this world belongs to Krishna, I am Krishna's part and parcel. So, I should focus on the action, not on the result. Now I understand there are people who are doing much better than me in life, so I have a fantastic opportunity to learn from them. Instead of being jealous about them, let me learn from them. So, this in psychology, this is known as cognitive reframing. Cognitive reframing. So, what is cognitive reframing? Cognitive cognitive reframing means you have a specific situation and you have multiple viewpoints, right? You can perceive the situation in different way. This is viewpoint 1, this is viewpoint 2, this is viewpoint 3, this is viewpoint 4. Now you can perceive the situation from different angles. Now, which angle of perception do you choose? That will decide how you are going to have your habits set up, how you are going to have your life set up. Now, in a specific situation, you can perceive it in a positive or a negative manner. A very classic example is the glass of water. So if this is a glass of water and this is filled till here, there are group of people who will say that the glass is half empty. There are group of people who will also say that the glass is half full. Both are correct on their standing. Now somebody chose to define the glass in terms of its emptiness, somebody chose to define the glass in terms of its fullness. So now we have to understand what we choose to do in our life. Let me share with you an example with from my personal life here. So couple of days back, I had a flight. I had to take a flight to travel for business reasons, and then it got delayed by 2 hours. And not just that. When we reached the airport, it started raining outside. So it started raining outside. And then when I took the cab charged me double the fare that is the legitimate one. When I reached my home, I mean the hotel, my phone started malfunctioning. So these are four issues that I faced in the day. And to any other person, even my previous self, the way I was maybe 6 7 years back, so in that situation I would have freaked out, I would have cursed everyone around me, I would have been so upset that I would have questioned that why do we believe in God. So yes, that's what many people will do, because on a single day if you have so many problems, definitely it is going to test your level of calmness. Now, let me define how the day went in a little more deep way. So, as I just mentioned, I had those four problems, but also I had one big thing in the day. So, I got an opportunity to help some foreign travelers who were in India for some medical treatment. So, I could help them to get a cab and with some other assistance that they needed. So I could assist people around me, and also I had an opportunity to assist another fellow passenger who was also traveling with me in the flight. So these two incidents were the bright spots in the day. Now, when I reached my hotel and when I was reflecting on the day, and then I had to call up my mom and I had to tell her that how my day was and what am I doing. So then I took a pause. So I took a pause, and then I wanted to think that how am I going to describe the day? Am I going to complain? Am I going to say that it was a horrible day, it was a horrible experience? Or am I going to focus on the silver linings that I had? That is up to me. Now, I chose to be on the positive side of the spectrum. I called her and I defined that the day was amazing. I experienced so much of bliss today because I got an opportunity to help these two people. And I'm sure that when they go back to their country, they will remember India, and they will definitely remember me for the help that I provided. So I am so proud that I did something for which they will praise my country. I mean, that's amazing, right? So that was a fantastic achievement for me. And then apart from that, I also defined that yeah, the day was not all good. I did have some challenges, but I thanked God. Do you know why I thanked God? Because despite so many challenges, it was Him, it was Krishna who helped me to navigate through all of this, reach home, and maintain my calmness. I was still calm, I was still positive, and I was still happy. I mean, that's not very ordinary. If you have so many problems in your life on the same day and still you are feeling positive from inside, that means you have something different, something unique, and that is definitely a gift from God. So, I thank God for whatever blessings He has bestowed upon me, and on this note, I define the entire day as a very positive experience. So, that brings us to the end of this video, and I will just sum up with a small thing, that comparison is a double-edged sword. You need to understand what is your objective and what is your uh, what is your objective, and what is the main reason, the rationale, why are you taking up this comparison. And then you have to be very careful about whom you are comparing with and everything. So rather than comparing with another person, let us do something different. Let us get inspired from others. So our Srimad Bhagavatam defines this, that when we meet somebody who is doing better than us, who is doing same, who are on the same platform as us, and who is our junior or who is still getting started, how do we deal with these three category of people? So Bhagavatam says, when you are dealing with somebody who is superior to you in terms of any skill, ability or anything, achievements, you should take inspiration from the person. When you meet somebody who is on the same platform, you should be friendly to that person. And when you meet someone who is just getting started, who is junior to you, you should mentor them, you should motivate them, you should inspire them, you should support them. And that is the trait of an ideal leader, of a nice person, of a good Samaritan. So with this note, I'll end the video over here and wish you all the best in all your endeavors. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.